today there's about 65,000 products on the site. I think more impressively is how quickly that turns. I mean, that's turning every kind of 6 to 7 weeks. So, you know, we call it for fun the sort of fashion factory. There are, 2,000 to 3,000 new lines literally coming on every week. So all those lines have to be bought, that's just lines. So you've got all the SKUs, the colorways, they'll have to be photographed, the copy has to be written, and all the rest of it. So it's a huge conveyor belt now. There are about 900 brands on the website. My belief there are another 900,000 brands around the globe I haven't even heard of yet that are relevant for 20-somethings. As we increasingly globalize, think of ASOS as the kind of melting pot that sits in the middle, and we've got all the kind of Eastern brands going west and all the Western brands going east, and it's just this big kind of melting pot for 20-something fashion. Today we've got about 7 million active customers, and that's active being described as kind of having shopped with us in the last 12 months. And as I say, Barnsley is responsible for about 50 to 60,000 orders a day. As we start ramping up to Christmas, that will probably double. So what I wanted to touch on, that's the kind of ASOS story. I mean, believe me, I could make you laugh all afternoon about some of the pitfalls that we have fallen into in creating ASOS. I mean, all I'd say if you're out there thinking about starting or in the middle of, just keep moving it, keep changing it around to kind of see where the opportunity is. You can see what we started with versus where we ended up are two very, very different businesses. And the other thing I say, and again we sort of fell into it by default, you get your 8 hours of the day. Try and pick off something that go where the fish or the seagulls are already fishing. There's big pots of money around the world. Fortunately for me, apparel and clothing is the second biggest pot behind food. So getting a little piece of a very big pot can make you a very big business, and that's kind of always resonated in our head. So whatever it is you're doing or thinking about doing, ultimately try and have a look around the world and see where the kind of buckets of money are being spent, because if you can get a little bit of that, then that will be a bigger business. Bear in mind you've only got the 8 hours of the day. It's the problems, the inherent problems within the old retail model that is actually driving this retail model. You talk about the convenience. I mean, isn't it funny that 9 o'clock at night is our busiest hour by a long way? I mean, it used to be lunch times. That's when broadband was in the office and you couldn't afford broadband at home or didn't have broadband at home. Now it's 9 o'clock at night when everybody's watching TV or doing whatever it is. And interestingly, when you start going around the world, Sunday's a massive day in France because all the shops are shut. Got to love the French. It's little things like that you sort of pick up on, and it is that convenience factor, but convenience linked to choice and availability. There are certain things I just think that the kids now just won't accept. What do you mean you haven't got it in my size? What do you mean your colour's sold out? These are starting to be sort of phrases in our language. It will soon disappear. That's just wholly unacceptable. So that kind of availability, and if you want it, and I want it now. By the way, I can't be bothered to take it home. You're going to deliver that for me. It's that kind of new language. You think about who's going to be next, who's going to struggle to kind of compete with that from a customer sentiment point of view, and it's going to be things like footwear stores. You're just not going to accept going into a store and not having your size. So, you think about the economics of how footwear operates on the high street, where they need to devote so much of that space to, non-selling space, just a store, and it's a catch-22 for them. They don't have a store where they haven't got your site. It's all that horribleness that just, going forward, I just don't think we'll support. What I love about these new business dynamics, profit's not an ugly word, down at Amazon, but it's not the word they, hang their hat off as a lot of other traditional, more, bricks and mortar retailers. It's all about how can we invest back into you and make your lives easier. And that's great from consumers' point of view, but I think we've also got to get our heads around it. It's great from a business point of view as well, because we can't all have huge stores on the internet. And that's not because we're not capable of it, that's because consumers don't actually want that. You don't hear about, I can't wait to shop 15 different websites tonight. There's nothing about that internet shopping experience that is pleasurable. It's convenient, it's choice. It's not hugely pleasurable. So I kind of, we're still understanding what the future and what good will look like in this world. But I instinctively feel if the big keep reinvesting in making your experience better and cheaper and faster and quicker and better, then the big will get bigger. And then we as businesses, or if I go down to my next point, the niche, the thought of a niche brand ever having the eyeballs of 20 million, 20-something, is beyond wildest imaginations. But now niche brand can go on ASOS and day one have 20 million eyeballs attached to it. So you need the big to get bigger to then benefit the niche to come through. And I still don't know how that's going to play out, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. What will happen, and people always go and get the crystal ball out, it just makes sense. High streets will shrink again because there's too much of it. We don't need all that. It will be smaller. We'll devote huge swathes of it back to what it should be, residential, because that's where people want to live. And the other half of it will be, niche, interesting things, either local or relevant or, stuff that, all the bland stuff you're going to get online. So it was actually retail that killed the high street, not internet or consumer.